Welcome to the coolest stuff on the planet.
Hey everybody, welcome to all the Frederick clan. Welcome also to Rachel.
Hello.
That was for my family. And this is the coolest stuff on the planet.
Welcome to the rest of you too.
Yes.
We don't mean to be exclusive here at the coolest stuff on the
no,
planet.
this is an exclusive club of only the coolest people on the planet listening to this podcast. Yeah, you know who you are, you. Today we're admiring some cool stuff in a place we haven't really been to yet, in Russia. And what's a better place to start in Russia than in Moscow, the capital and largest city?
Yep. So Moscow is located in the European portion of Russia, and it is in fact the largest city in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fun fact. So Moscow has a really long history. It was first founded in 1147.
Today, Moscow is a bustling metropolis. It's been in a state of rapid economic and social change since the end of the Soviet era. It's a mix of old and new elements. There's so many amazing things that we could talk about in Moscow, and we couldn't possibly mention all of them, but we're gonna glaze over a few things, and we're also gonna mention some of the coolest, famous things.
Like the Kremlin, for example.
The Kremlin is one of those.
Good place to start. So the Kremlin is this big, it's basically a citadel.
Mm-hmm.
It's this big fortified complex that has massive walls, brick walls all the way around it, and it's this big complex that houses palaces, cathedrals, government offices, even the president's residence is in the Kremlin.
Everything you need, apparently.
And it has, around the walls, it has 20 towers. So that is the actual Kremlin.
Those were defensive towers?
I think so.
Oh man, watch out for those archers. They'll get you.
You love archers.
Near the Kremlin is the famous and infamous Red Square. It's probably the most famous city square in Russia and quite possibly the world. This is where you'll find Vladimir Lenin's tomb, in which the Soviet leader's embalmed body is on display. I think it's on display 5 out of 7 days of the week. And it's his actual body. Now, how his body has been preserved this long, that's something to be handled by our new sister podcast, Stuff from the Science Lab. So check that out on iTunes. You're going to like it. But anyway, let's move on.
So the predominant religion in Moscow and probably many parts of Russia, it is Russian Orthodox Christianity. So you'll find hundreds of Russian Orthodox churches and cathedrals throughout the city. And one of the most famous is the one that I thought was the Kremlin, St. Basil's Cathedral that you see here, which you can recognize by its sort of colorful, tutti-frutti kind of domes and
as you were talking
beautiful
about earlier.
Decorations. Yeah.
Also famous, the Cathedral of Christ the Savior. This is the largest church in Moscow, but it's not the oldest. It was destroyed by Stalin in 1931, and it was rebuilt in 1997. In the intervening years, the site housed the world's largest swimming pool, just for fun.
That's such a weird bit of trivia.
I know,
But I really like it.
Thank you for finding that, by the way.
No problem. So the city is also home to the famous Bolshoi Theater and, of course, the world-class Bolshoi Ballet and Opera Company.
The city is also the commercial capital of Russia, so you're going to find lots of shopping, expensive restaurants, and also exclusive nightclubs. It's a wealthy city, one of the most expensive in the world. Only recently was it knocked down from most expensive by Tokyo in 2009. Also, it's got a ton of billionaires.
Yeah, it used to have the most billionaires in the world in 2008.
Wow.
But it was knocked down in 2009. Okay, so that's Moscow. Moscow has way more cool stuff than we could ever possibly cover in 12 coolest stuff podcasts.
Yeah, we kind of shot right towards the center of the city, and then perhaps later we'll move around.
But so I hope we've piqued your interest in this fascinating city. It's really very interesting. A lot of history, a lot of architecture, a lot of nightclubs.
Yes.
So you might want to do some research on your own.
True that. So go forth and learn about this amazing city of contrasts, extremes, and embalmed Soviet leaders, either on the internets or the intertubes, or on our most excellent website, howstuffworks.com. Thanks for listening, everybody. If you have any questions or comments, what can they do, Rachel?
Well, I think you can email us at travelpodcast@howstuffworks.com. We welcome your suggestions, your stories, your feedback.
For more on this and thousands of other topics, visit howstuffworks.com and let us know what you think. Email travelpodcast@howstuffworks.com. Don't forget to check out our other podcasts, free on iTunes.